Here are two examples of multi-step equations, one without a fraction and one with a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this first one. So the first problem, we have to get x by itself. What I like to do is I like to typically start from the outside and work my way in. So I'll explain what that means in just a moment, but first what I would like to do is circle my variable. That usually helps me. And I like to draw a little dotted line right down the middle where my equal sign is. That way whatever I do to one side I have to do to the other side. Now the question is, what do I mean by start from the outside and work my way in? Well, here's what I mean. My variable is on my left-hand side. So I want to start by moving what's farthest away on that same side to the other side. So if my x is here, I'm not going to do anything with the 2 yet. I'm going to start from farther away because there's a plus 11 here. In order to get rid of that plus 11, I'm going to minus 11. Well, whatever I do to one side of that equal sign, I have to do to the other side. So that way this cancels out. It just becomes 0. We don't need to write 0. So the only thing left on the left-hand side of the equation is this 2x. The equal sign always stays over that line, and 3 minus 11 gives me negative 8. Now I'm going to go to what's next to my x, which is 2. I'm technically multiplying 2 times x right here on the left-hand side. The opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. These divide to become 1x, or just x. It's the same thing. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. And that's my final answer. Now let's look at this next example over here. I want to get k by itself, and here's my equal sign. But there's one big problem that a lot of people don't like is we have a fraction. A lot of people don't like fractions. So you see how I have one giant fraction on the left-hand side of the equation and nothing else? Well, if I have one big fraction, I can get rid of it by multiplying it by the denominator. You can put it over 1 if you want to, if that helps. It helps some people because it shows you can cross-cancel. You have a 12 on top and a 12 on the bottom. If you're showing that you multiply, it's the same thing as doing 12 divided by 12, which cancels out to become 1. So the only thing left over on the left-hand side of the equation is k plus 9. And negative 2 times 12 is negative 24. In order to get the k by itself again, we have to subtract 9 because we're adding it. We have to do what's ever opposite to get that k by itself. So we end up with k is equal to negative 33.